All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judge Corey Amanda Cotham. We're here for the afternoon session of First Appearance Court. As a reminder to everyone, everything that we say here is being recorded and can be used against you at a later date. And so I do encourage you to speak to your attorneys before speaking on the record this afternoon. Before we get started, I have one case that we have an agreement on that I said I would call first. And what's the last name on that defendant, Mr. Rydell?
Good afternoon, Judge Joshua Rydell on behalf of Damian Fortino. Mr. Fortino's case appears on page 3 of your Honor's docket.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Fortino.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Mr. Fortino, you're before the court this morning on an injunction violation for stalking. I find probable cause. As you can see, your private counsel, Mr. Rydell, is present with me in the courtroom, and at this time I will hear from the parties.
Your Honor, I believe we have an agreement. I've also spoken with the alleged victim.
Okay.
And she has signed off on the bond and release conditions that we've agreed to as well.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, it would be a $6,000 bond, no victim contact, pretrial release with a GPS monitor level 2, no return or can't come within, I think it's 1,000 feet of the victim's place of work and her home. And no use of any social media sites.
Level 2 is with working, Linda, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to make sure,
Yeah, of course.
so my client could hear that.
All right, and Mr. Rydell, anything you want to add to that?
Absolutely nothing, Judge. This is an agreement between Mr. Linder and myself that we orchestrated in the morning session, so.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to repeat all of that once more. Make sure we have everything. The monetary bond will be set at $6,000. If Mr. Fortino does post that monetary bond, he will be placed on pretrial supervision with a level 2 GPS monitor. There will be an order of no victim contact, as well as an order that Mr. Fortino not be within 1,000 feet of the alleged victim's home or place of work. And there will be an order that Mr. Fortino not use any social media websites until further order of the court. Mr. Fortino, did you understand all of that?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Have a nice afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, now as we're getting started, is there anyone that needs called out of turn?
Not at this time, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Miller, anybody at the satellites that need to be called out of turn? All right, so let's just start down our list. First up will be Barbara Jackson Nembard.
Bonded.
Thank you. Anariel Cunningham.
She's here present, Judge. She declined the service to public defense.
Thank you.
It's too bad.
Good afternoon, Ms. Cunningham.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Cunningham, do you understand that you are entitled to have an attorney represent you for this hearing this afternoon?
Yes.
And are you declining the services of the public defender at this time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. For the record, Ms. Cunningham, you're before the court this afternoon on 2 charges. Count 1, second-degree petty theft. Count 2, possession of an anti-shoplifting control device countermeasure. I find probable cause. And is the state seeking anything beyond the standard bond?
No.
All right. All right, so Ms. Cunningham, I'm going to leave the standard bond in place, which is $1,000, and there will be a no return order to the location at issue, which is the Saks Fifth Avenue in Sunrise. So that means that you're not to go to that location. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck. Olga Valdez.
Come on up, Miss Valdez. She's approaching Judge Main.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, Ms. Valdez.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Valdez, you're before the court on 2 charges. Count 1, grand theft auto. Count 2, making a counterfeit or falsely made credit card. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties.
Judge, and speaking of Ms. Valdez, unfortunately, she advised me that no one's going to be able to post her bond. She's 46 years old, been here for the past 21 years. She's self-employed. She takes care of someone for a living. She's been doing that for about 5 years. She gets paid monthly. She lives in Miami. She's been residing at the same place for about 10 years. Judge, at this, I'm going to be asking the court to consider releasing her on pretrial release.
Okay.
Your Honor, Ms. Valdez's criminal history includes, she was just convicted in January 20th? January of this year for possession of cocaine, 2016 possession of cocaine, 2010 grand theft. She violated her probation in that case. 2009 possession of cocaine, 2008 possession of cocaine, 2007 uttering a forged instrument. She violated her probation in that case. She was arrested on a failure to appear warrant in 2007 and 2003. Nothing further, Judge.
All right, for today's purposes, I'm going to leave the standard bonds in place. Good luck to you, Ms. Valdez. Robert Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell is approaching, Judge, and he declined the service of public defender.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, do you understand that you are entitled to have an attorney represent you for this hearing?
Man, let's just move on so I can go to the jury.
Mr. Mitchell, answer my question. Do you
Let's
understand?
move on so I can go to the jury.
Mr. Mitchell, do you understand that you are entitled to have an
Let's
attorney
move on so I
represent
can
you
go
for
to-
this
let's
hearing?
move on so I can go to the jury because I already know how to do this. I've been doing this since I was a kid. Let's move on.
Mr. Mitchell,
Read the charges and move on.
Mr. Mitchell,
I'm not feeling good. Read the charges and move on. I'm sick.
Mr. Mitchell, you're before the court on one charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I find probable cause. What is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state is seeking a $25,000 bond, pretrial release of the GPS monitor, no victim contact. Mr. Mitchell has a history of violence throughout his criminal past. He's out right now on bond for a battery. 2013, battery on a law enforcement officer, 5-year state prison. 1998, aggravated assault with a firearm, resisting with violence and battery, 6-year state prison as a habitual offender and PRR offender. 1988, aggravated assault, resisting with violence, 2.5-year state prison. The reason I'm going that far back, Your Honor, is additionally in 1987, Mr. Mitchell had a murder in the second degree and was sentenced to 20 years in state prison. 1986, attempted arson of a structure where people were present, 2.5-year state prison.
Did you say that he is out on bond right now?
He is on a misdemeanor battery.
Is that in Broward?
It is.
What is the case number?
19-9379 MM10A. It is before Judge Carpenter Toy.
At this time, the court is going to sua sponte revoke Mr. Mitchell's bond in case number 199379 MM10A. I'm going to order that he be held no bond in that case so that his division judge can further decide how she wants to address that case. In the case that is before me today, the monetary bond will be set at $25,000. If Mr. Mitchell does post that bond and become eligible for release, he will be placed on pretrial supervision with a level 2 GPS monitor, and there will be an order of no victim contact. Mr. Mitchell, the no contact order means that you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim in this case. No being in the same place at the same time, no phone calls or text messages to this person, no third-party contact or social media contact with this person. Do you understand that?
And you tell somebody I ain't got a job there because he keep coming to my job.
All right, thanks, Mr. Mitchell. Good luck.
Thanks, Steve.
Alexis Simone.
He's approaching, Judge. Come on up, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Simone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Mr. Simone, you're before the court this afternoon on 5 charges. Count 1, possession or use of drug paraphernalia. Count 2, resisting an officer obstructing without violence. Count 3 is a felony capias that has a no bond hold. Count 4 is second-degree petty theft, third or subsequent offense. And count 5 is a felony warrant for violation of pretrial that has a no bond hold. I find probable cause, and Mr. Simone, I do note that you have a hearing with your division judge tomorrow morning on a status hearing. In light of the no bond holds, do the parties wish to be heard on counts 1 and 4?
No, Judge.
Judge, not as far as, I believe, 1 and 2. However, in speaking to Mr. Salomon, he's advised on, the count 4. I told him it's not in custody capias.
Yes.
Remember, regarding a third or subsequent offense, and the bond currently set at $750.
Right?
He advised me he doesn't know anything about it, so I wanted to know when was the alleged date of incident and what store was this from, because he doesn't have any idea what it's from.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's from a Walmart. And let me just tell you the date on it. The date, and Mr. Linder, I just want to confirm, is this from September or October of 2019?
It's from September 12th. It was, the detective was notified in October by the ASA for a file.
Okay. So it's September 12th, 2019, at a Walmart located in Lauderdale Lakes. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good luck, Mr. Simone. Patrick Sylvain.
Judge, Mr. Sylvain is approaching. He declined the services of public defender, but Mr. Sylvain wanted to ask the court if the court could sign a SAP order.
Yes. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Sylvain.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Sylvain, let me just ask you first, do you understand that you're entitled to have an attorney represent you for this hearing?
Yes.
And you're declining the services of the public defender?
Not really. I ain't know what I was saying.
Okay. Well, do you want the public defender to be with you on this hearing, or do you want to represent yourself?
Sure. I let him help.
Okay, I see, Mr.
We're ready
Romero.
for Chief Judge.
Okay, all right. Mr. Sylvain, you're before the court on 2 charges. Count 1 is obstructing police while serving or executing a search warrant. Count 2 is a felony probation violation, which has a no bond hold. I find probable cause, and I do see, Mr. Sylvain, you're gonna have a hearing with your division judge tomorrow morning on the probation violation. And if you are interested in participating in the SAP program, then I'm more than happy to sign that order. So is that something that you want me to do?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So Mr. Miller, will you provide me with a SAP order for him? And I'll leave the $100 bond in place on count 1 since he's got the hearing tomorrow. Okay? All right, good luck, sir. Elbert Malcolm.
Mr. Malcolm's here, Judge, and he declined the service of public defender, but he was gonna ask if his bond's been posted.
All right, can I just check with confinement? Will you tell me if Mr. Malcolm's bond was posted? Okay. All right. No? Okay. Mr. Malcolm, they're telling me that your bond is not showing as posted yet. Okay?
All right.
So let me just ask you to begin. Do you understand that you are entitled to have an attorney represent you for this hearing this morning or this afternoon?
Yes.
And are you declining the services of the public defender?
Yes.
Okay. So for the record, Mr. Malcolm, you're before the court on 3 charges. Count 1, grand theft of a firearm. Count 2, carrying a concealed firearm. Count 3 is parking in a handicap zone, but that count is not for magistrate. I find probable cause. And Mr. Linder, is the state seeking anything beyond the standard bonds? All right. So Mr. Malcolm, I'm going to leave the standard bonds in place, so your bond total is $2,000. All right. Good luck, sir.
Good luck, sir. Thank you.
Next will be Edgar Alvarado.
Alvarado, come on up. He's approaching, Judge. Judge, he's approaching and he declined the service of public defender.
What's going on in Maine today? You being mean to everybody, Mr. Romero? All right, Mr. Alvarado, do you understand that you are entitled to have an attorney represent you for this hearing this afternoon?
Yes.
And are you declining the services of the public defender at this time?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Alvarado, for the record, you're before the court on 4 charges. Count 1, driving while license suspended, habitual. Count 2, failure to register a motor vehicle. Count 3, having an expired motor vehicle registration over 6 months. Count 4, failure to provide proof of insurance. The last 2 counts are not for magistrate. I find probable cause. Is the state seeking anything beyond the standard bond?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Alvarado, your bond is $750, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Mark Forkhand,
North Park.
From Mayor of Dade County. Judge,
He went to court today, and he hasn't returned from court yet.
okay. Mr. Miller, did you want to say something on him?
Waive his presence, Judge.
Okay, all right, so this is a change of charge on Mr. Forkhand's case.
yes, I'm just looking, did you already see what the bond said at, or I'm looking now?
I forgot to look it up.
That's all right, I got it.
Judge, while he's doing that, our Spanish interpreter is present.
This isn't just a lot.
Does anyone, I don't know, Michelle, or do we have any notes on what the bond was originally set at? Not seeing it anywhere.
How much?
1,000?
1,000? All right. You just seeking to have it replaced?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, any objection, Mr. Miller? All right, so on count 4, we'll go ahead and replace that bond at $1,000. Thank you. All right, and what cases do I have for our interpreter?
Page 2 of the second look misdemeanor docket. Raul Oliva Santos.
Okay. Which facility is he at? Is he at Maine? Okay, that's okay.
He's on the second look down.
That's
Raul
correct.
Santos Oliva. Then, por favor.
All right, and for my interpreter, do you swear or affirm to interpret from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you.
Zachary Shapiro, Shapiro.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Good afternoon, Mr. Oliva Santos.
Buenas tardes, señor Oliva Santos. Hi.
You're before the court this afternoon on a second look.
Usted ha comparecido ante mí esta tarde para su segunda audiencia.
The bond is currently set at $25.
Ahora mismo la fianza es de $25.
Mr. Romero, I'll hear from you first.
Señor Romero, escucharé su argumento.
He wishes to resolve this matter. We wanted to know if the state had a plea offer.
Si él quiere resolver esta causa, queremos saber si la fiscalía han ofrecido un acuerdo.
Yes, it would be time served.
Si le ofreceríamos tiempo cumplido.
Judge, he wishes to accept the state's offer.
Si juez, él quiere aceptar la oferta de la fiscalía.
Okay, Mr. Oliva, I'm going to ask you a few questions before
Señor
we're
Oliva,
done.
le voy a hacer unas preguntas.
To begin, will you please raise your right hand?
Primero, alce la mano derecha. Alce la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
¿Usted jura o afirma decirme la verdad?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, and now you can put your hand
Gracias,
down.
ya puede bajar la mano.
And
Ya puede bajar la mano.
Mr. Oliva, do you understand everything we've discussed here this afternoon?
Señor Oliva, ¿usted ha entendido todo lo que hemos hablado aquí esta tarde?
Okay.
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you to resolve this case?
¿Alguien lo está obligando a usted a resolver este caso? No.
Are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
¿Está usted bajo los efectos de drogas o alcohol? No.
Do you need any more time to speak with your attorney?
¿Necesita usted más tiempo para hablar con su abogado? No.
Okay. Do you understand that you have the right to trial, but you are waiving that right by taking a plea today?
Entiende que usted tendría el derecho a llevar este caso a juicio, pero al aceptar el acuerdo está renunciando a ese derecho.
Say,
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been treated for mental or emotional illness?
¿Alguna vez ha recibido tratamiento por algún trastorno mental o emocional?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything about that illness today that impacts your ability to accept this plea?
¿Y ese trastorno psicológico afecta su habilidad de aceptar el acuerdo el día de hoy?
¿Cómo le explico? Dile que yo tengo problemas porque me caí en una escalera trabajando aquí, me la clavícula partida.
I don't know how to explain this. I got hurt here. I fell off a ladder while I was working and I broke my clavicle.
Okay. Mr. Oliva, you said that you had been treated for some sort of mental or emotional illness in the past.
Señor Olivo, usted dijo que en el pasado le habían hecho tratamiento por algún trastorno mental o emocional.
Is there anything about any mental or emotional illness that impacts your ability to accept this plea today?
¿El hecho de que usted haya tenido algún trastorno mental o emocional le impide de alguna manera aceptar este acuerdo negociado?
No.
No, no.
Okay. And do you understand that if you are not a U.S. citizen, taking this plea today will subject you to deportation or other immigration changes?
¿Y entiende usted que al aceptar este acuerdo negociado se puede exponer a la deportación u otros cambios en su condición de inmigración? Yes.
And what plea do you wish to enter, sir? Guilty or no contest?
¿Y cómo se declara, señor? ¿Culpable o no disputo? No contest.
All right. I accept your plea and find that it is freely and voluntarily given.
Acepto su declaración porque es de manera libre y voluntaria.
Your sentence will be an adjudication of guilt with time served.
La pena será un fallo condenatorio y tiempo cumplido.
There will also be a no return order to the restaurant that is the location of the trespass in this case.
También voy a emitir una orden que le prohíbe regresar al restaurante que se considera
Do you understand
el
that,
lugar en
sir?
este caso, el lugar de los hechos. ¿Entiende eso, señor?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Good
Muy
luck,
bien.
sir.
Buena suerte, señor. Gracias.
Okay. Is there anyone else at Maine that requires a Spanish interpreter?
No, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Miller, anybody at the other satellites that needs a Spanish interpreter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. Shapiro, thank you very much. All right. Before I continue with our hearing docket, Mr. Linder, do you know if Mr. Haas intends to return to address Mr. Curry's case this afternoon? I'm sorry? Supposed to be here at 2. All right. So then we'll continue with our hearing docket. On page 2 of the hearing docket, on the misdemeanor docket, Jordan Calafos.
Judge, that case was actually null pros this morning.
Okay, so I assume that he's,
He's still in custody on other matters. though.
okay, all right, so then there's nothing for me to do on this case. All right, Richard Kemp, bonded, okay. All right, let me go to the felony docket. John Capriati,
John Capriati?
He is at Conti. This case
Oh,
was
Conti.
filed March 11th. And he's already been made aware of that and gone back to the unit.
okay, all right, so it'll just be denied. Thank you very much. Okay, Jeremiah Boykins,
Also at Conti, the case was also filed on the 11th, and he's already gone back to the unit as well.
all right, thank you, that'll be denied as well. Byron Holiday,
He's also at Conti. He couldn't come down from the unit, so we're going to waive his presence for the purposes of this hearing. I don't know if it's been filed.
okay,
It has been,
it has been filed?
yes, third-degree felony, threat to specified individuals, second or subsequent phase. That's why it's a felony.
All right, so on Mr. Holiday's case, that will be denied as well. All right, John Green.
In jail.
Michelle, please tell me you got some notes.
Okay, all right, good afternoon, Mr. Green. All right, and Mr. Green's here on a second look. He's got 4, 5, looks like $5,500.
Yes, Your Honor said $3,000 bond on the burglary and $1,000 bond on the grand theft between $10,000 and $20,000. Those were the same bonds as his co-arrestee. He had $1,500 worth of bonds on failures to appear on 3 separate misdemeanor cases.
Judge?
Yes.
I'm just gonna be asking the court if on the first offense, the burglary of an occupied structure, in which the court set it at $3,000, I'm gonna ask the court to consider reducing it to $1,000. As I mentioned earlier, he's 52 years old, not working, he has medical issues, and he's homeless. Now, he did give me a phone number of his friend. I've been trying to contact that friend since I believe he gave me the phone number, which I think was yesterday.
You gave me the wrong number.
He gave me the wrong number, so I'm going to continue trying to call him today. But I know he works in landscaping, so Mr. Green did advise me as soon as I talked to him, he's probably going to have a hard time coming up with money, so anything would help. That's why we're asking for a bond reduction from $3,000 to $1,000.
Your Honor, the bond that the court set was a reasonable bond. This is the same information you were advised of the other day. Considering that he and his co-arrestee essentially wiped out this business of their entire, all of their hurricane shutters, and it's about $10,000 plus to replace those, and now they've been scrapped. Considering he's here on KPS is failing to appear in 3 separate cases, 2 of those cases he was arrested January 2nd of this year on KPS's, and he was ROR'd on those, and then failed to appear again. I see in March of 2019 another arrest for failure to appear. He had multiple pending cases at that time, and it was court ordered on those. October of 2017, another arrest for failing to appear in court. September of 2018, another arrest for failing to appear in court.
All right, I remember Mr. Green's first appearance hearing. As far as counts 1 and 2, I set them at the same amounts I set the co-arrestee. And Mr. Romero, I remember you telling me some of the same information then. And the reason that I remember not giving him a lower amount was because he has extensive failures to appear. So I don't want to put him into a position where we're going to go through this all over again. So for today's hearing purposes, I'm going to leave the bonds in place as they were set. We'll go from there. All right, good luck, Mr. Green. Next will be Raymond Rosario.
Bonded?
Thank you. And then I had also on my list Amari Freeman.
Trespass guy from
Did
this
he?
morning? Yeah.
Does anybody have any information on that?
I don't have Freeman.
He was on my. He was on my. Yeah, he was on the second one.
I'll look it up.
Thank you. When the second look email went out, he
It
was
was
on.
time. I don't know how long he's been in. It was time served.
Freeman?
Yes,
This was a church. They offered 7 days to a guy this morning.
Freeman. Freeman.
Yes, ma'am.
Freeman is out of custody.
Omari
Okay.
Freeman is.
Omari Freeman?
Yeah, Omari Freeman was on my list. That's why I just wanted to make sure it was good. Okay.
On
all right.
today.
Okay, excellent. He bonded. Okay. All right,
No,
so.
you didn't. He's out of custody?
All right, so I've only got one case left, and that is for Mr. Curry. So we are waiting on Mr. Haas. If somebody could find out when he's going to be here, please.
I'm done. See y'all tomorrow.
Thanks, Mr. Romero. For my deputies at Maine, while I'm waiting on Mr. Haas to get here, I'm going to go off the record for a few minutes, and as soon as he's in, I'll come back on so that we can address this last case. So just give me a few minutes. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, Maine, we're back on. Can I have Mr. Curry come up to the podium? Mr. Haas is here. Thank you. All right, so once again, we're here on a felony probation violation, which has a no bond hold. I know that we briefly discussed this morning. I spoke with Judge Yuson over lunch myself to see how he would like to address the case, and he has instructed me to make sure that the clerk's office has the VOP hearing set for Monday, and Mr. Curry is just going to have to wait for that hearing to happen, because right now this is a VOP with a no bond hold. There's nothing else that I'm going to be able to do about it as far as magistrate purposes go. All right? So, Mr. Curry, I'm just letting you know that you will be seeing Judge Yuson on Monday. As of right now, this has a no bond hold on it. Mr. Haas, if you want to further address it with Judge Yuson, you're more than welcome to, but per my discussion with him, I'm to leave it as is.
And as you know, Your Honor, and I completely understand where we're at right now, but I would submit to the court that there's absolutely no probable cause for the court to detain him any further than he's already been detained. As if he was being held up by the police and arrested for possession, the court would find that there was no probable cause for the police to even arrest him for possession, which they didn't, of course. There has to be probable cause for a finding that he's violated probation. There is no such thing here. There's no evidence to suggest that he's in violation of probation. Marijuana that was found in a drawer that somebody else admitted was theirs that they brought into the house. That's my position.
Your Honor, I think for first appearance purposes on the 94806 for a VOP, if somebody finds drugs that would be a violation of one's probation in their house, in a common area, that is enough to go forward to the violation of probation hearing. Now, whether there will be enough evidence to find him in fact in violation of his probation, that remains to be seen.
All right. I agree for today's purposes, and Mr. Haas, your objection is absolutely noted for the record. I am going to formally make a probable cause finding, and once again, whether this rises to the level of a violation of probation, how it's going to be handled, that is for Judge Yuson to decide since he's a division judge, so that'll have to be addressed at Monday's hearing.
Very good, thank you.
All right? And I'm going to say on the record to my clerks, please make sure there is a hearing set in front of Judge Yuson for a violation of probation on Monday. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Curry. Good luck to you, sir. All right, that brings us to the end of our docket for today. I'll see everyone tomorrow morning.